Imagine yourself surrounded by the chaos of life's daily battles, the struggles of health, financial difficulties, or concerns for loved ones. In these times of turmoil, it can feel as though we're left to fend for ourselves amidst the storms that life brings our way. But throughout history and even today, God offers a message that has never wavered, one of protection and comfort, a message embodied in the powerful figure of Archangel Michael. Michael's name itself carries an ancient meaning: who is like God? From the moment we encounter him in Scripture, he stands as a warrior, a defender of the faithful against unseen forces that would seek to shake our faith. Michael is not a passive observer. He is a protector, called upon to defend God's people in critical moments. His role reminds us that we are not alone in the battles we face each day. Instead, we have heavenly allies who walk alongside us, strengthening us when our own strength fails. In the book of Daniel, we see Michael as the angelic protector who stands by God's people in times of great distress. It was during a vision that Daniel witnessed Michael stepping forward to defend Israel, to ensure that God's promises would be fulfilled, even amidst powerful opposition. This wasn't simply a historical moment, but rather a revelation for us today, that in moments of fear, uncertainty, or feeling overwhelmed, we too have divine support working for our good. Reflecting on these biblical accounts, Michael's presence serves as a powerful reminder that God has equipped us with both visible and invisible means of support. When we feel burdened or afraid, when hope seems distant, we're invited to remember that our faith connects us to a spiritual reality much greater than ourselves. In Michael, we see God's promise that no struggle goes unnoticed, no fear is ignored, and no cry for help is unheard. Today, many might feel alone as they face what seem like endless challenges. With the uncertainties of the world weighing heavily on hearts and minds, we may question where to find true safety and assurance. Michael's role as a defender calls us to renew our trust in God's care, to remember that there are guardians appointed to protect and guide us, not only in past stories, but in our present lives as well. Through prayer, through faith, and through reflecting on God's promises, we can seek this same protection and strength. Michael's example calls us to stand firm even in the face of fear, for he embodies a courage that is rooted not in human power, but in the everlasting strength of God's love and sovereignty. We are reminded that our help does not come from earthly power alone, but from the one who watches over all. Michael's example brings comfort because his presence represents a steadfast assurance in times when the challenges of life seem relentless. In moments of vulnerability, when faith is tested and endurance wears thin, Michael stands as a model of resilience. He does not act from personal desire or gain, but from a divine calling to protect and uphold God's people. A calling that reassures us of God's active role in our lives. In Revelation chapter 12, we see Michael at the forefront of a mighty struggle. Here he is described as a warrior leading the armies of heaven against the forces of darkness. This celestial battle reminds us of the often unseen conflicts happening around us, a reminder that even when we cannot see it, there is a spiritual realm where battles are fought for our well-being. In this scene, Michael's strength and courage stand as a testament to God's promise of protection over his faithful people. For us today, this image of Michael is deeply inspiring, because it shows a reality in which God's power is stronger than any force that threatens to unsettle us. Imagine what it must have been like for early Christians who heard these words of revelation while facing their own hardships and persecutions. Michael's victory was a message of hope, a promise that even when the odds seemed impossible, there was a heavenly defender fighting on their behalf. This message remains relevant today, inviting each of us to trust that no matter what we face, God's strength is greater than any adversary. Our understanding of Michael also challenges us to view protection not as an escape from hardship, but as the assurance that we are never alone in facing it. This is not a promise of a life free from struggle. Rather, it is a promise that in every struggle, we are accompanied by divine guidance and protection. When we look at Michael, we're reminded that we too can face our own battles with courage, knowing that God has placed forces of good to surround us and lift us when we are weak. Michael's role in Scripture points to a broader truth. that each faithful is precious in God's eyes, watched over and defended with great care. This does not mean our lives will be without difficulty, but it means that we have access to an unwavering source of strength through prayer and faith. By seeking God's presence through prayer and meditating on His Word, we can feel the reassurance of His protection that is offered to each of us, just as it was in ancient times. Each time we feel an unexpected sense of peace in a troubling time or experience a moment of clarity when all seemed dark, these may be glimpses of that divine support at work. Michael's presence encourages us to be still, to listen to God's quiet voice, reassuring us that we are under His watchful care. When we meditate on these truths, we find a renewed sense of courage and a foundation of trust in God's eternal promises. Our hearts can find rest knowing that we are not forgotten, but loved fiercely by a Creator who sends messengers and guardians like Michael to protect and guide us. The heavenly guardianship we see in Michael is an invitation to each of us to walk boldly in our faith, even when life feels uncertain. For many, today's world is filled with uncertainties. Whether it's personal challenges or broader issues that weigh heavily on our minds, we may find ourselves searching for something solid to hold on to, something that reassures us that we are protected and secure. Michael's presence in Scripture is a vivid reminder that God's guardianship is not just an abstract idea, but a living promise. The angelic figure of Michael shows us that God does not leave us vulnerable. Instead, He actively places protectors around us, empowering us to face whatever trials may come. Consider the story of Michael as a message for each of us. We are never truly alone. Our battles are seen by the one who knows our every need. Just as Michael has served as a protector and advocate, we can find comfort in the idea that God's presence surrounds us in every moment. Even when we don't understand the difficulties we face, we can trust that there is divine strength supporting us and guiding us forward. In these times, we might draw strength from Michael's example by recognizing our own role in this spiritual journey. Though we may not face physical battles as he did, we do encounter emotional and spiritual challenges that test our resilience. Michael's courage serves as a call for us to hold fast to our faith and trust in God's perfect plan, knowing that in His wisdom, God has already equipped us with the strength and guidance needed to face our trials. When we feel surrounded by uncertainty, a simple prayer can remind us of God's guardianship. Just as Michael intervenes in unseen realms, prayer acts as a way to invite God's peace and protection into our lives. It reminds us that we are connected to a larger reality, one where God's power surpasses any earthly concern. In prayer, we can find reassurance that God's guardianship is not something distant or reserved only for biblical heroes, but is a promise available to each one of us. The lessons we take from Michael's guardianship are not about avoiding hardship, but about finding strength within it. Knowing we have heavenly protection helps us approach life's trials with a sense of calm and faith, allowing us to move forward without fear. Michael's example calls us to trust God, even when we don't understand His ways, knowing that His purpose is to protect us, guide us, and bring us closer to Him. As we go about our daily lives, let us remember that we are watched over by a loving Father who sends messengers and protectors to shield us. We are not alone in our journey, and each step we take is under His care. Michael's guardianship reflects God's enduring love, inviting us to rest in the assurance that His strength surrounds us, that His peace is within reach, and that our faith in Him will carry us through every season. In the end, our hope is not just in our own strength, but in the divine power that supports us. As we follow Michael's example, we are reminded that faith is not a shield from struggle, but a foundation for resilience. Through faith, we find the courage to face each day with confidence, knowing that God's protection is steadfast and His love unwavering. If this message of faith and divine protection has resonated with you, take a moment to subscribe to our channel. Your support helps us continue sharing these inspiring reflections. Don't forget to leave a like, share your thoughts in the comments below, and join this community of faithful seeking God's wisdom together. Thank you for watching, and may you go forth with God's peace and guidance always.